We will start with Lehigh and then move to Vancouver, then to Metro, then to Florham.
Okay, let's start with Lehigh for 2 questions from Lehigh to be addressed preferably to Mr. Sciarratta and not to me.
Okay, good morning, Ambassador and Patrick. It's a pleasure to see you again. Thank you once again for hosting the video conference with us. It's always a pleasure. We have taken the theme of today's video conference quite seriously, and we have 2 groups of students here from 2 different high schools in the Lehigh Valley that are joining us, and I've invited each of the high schools to ask 1 question. So we'll turn it to Emmaus High School first, please.
Mr. Ambassador, you were talking about...
Mike is right there.
Oh, should I just look at it? Okay. Mr. Ambassador, you were talking about a lack of United States youth who were attending this youth conference. And we were wondering, like, what kind of incentives can the UN use to draw youth to its youth UN conferences?
Should I answer that one?
No, we'll take both questions. Okay. Let's take the second question also.
Mr. Ambassador, we were wondering what we could do as students in America to raise awareness for your cause, because we feel it's important, and you've said that we make up the largest portion of the smallest portion of the conference, and we'd like to know what we should be doing to help you.
Wonderful. Well, thank you very much. As a matter of fact, Friendship Ambassadors Foundation on its other side and its international program footing has worked with Lehigh youth both in high school and college, and we look forward to continuing to internationalize programs in the Lehigh Valley through our relationships with your schools in the future, as we have been in the past. However, to answer your question, you know, the incentive to be part of the UN programs for U.S. youth should be obvious. We're a world leader. Like the Chinese, who are discovering their own leadership role, we ought to want to be there, having a say in an organization that we pretty much single-handedly created. Remember, this organization was created in San Francisco, moved to New York, and has been a big part of the United States since its inception. However, you know, the United States is very aspirational. We have individuals who become wonderful, great contributors to society by forming their own companies, by going out on their own, by forging their own future. And therefore, it may be more difficult for a U.S. citizen, especially a youth in the United States, to see the purpose of and the need to cooperate with other countries around the world. Indeed, we often have leaders who remind us of our exceptional differences between the United States and other countries around the world. And this is reinforced in many areas throughout our country. And so the question comes up, what's the incentive to be part of the UN? Well, when we look at our small globe, our little green and blue planet, we're all one. And after 9/11 in particular, we saw that no borders, no seas, and no sky could keep us away from issues that are troubling others around the world. And it became important then, and it becomes more important now as we're so involved in places like Afghanistan and Iraq on one level, and in China, again, to go back there is a recent author who said that we are so in bed with the Chinese, whether we like it or not, perhaps it was a shotgun marriage, that he calls the 2 countries Chimerica. And he calls us frenemies. Which is very interesting. And I think about this, and I think there's incentive. We ought to really be a part of the dialogue going on throughout the world. We ought to know more about why it's been so difficult in Haiti and why there has been one tragedy after another. I know that our former President Clinton has often approached these tragedies like the tsunami or Haiti, saying we need to build build back better. He often says it's almost like a mantra, build back better. And I think for us to understand what needs to be done to develop the world, which will help mitigate problems such as terrorism, we need to know how to build our world back better from the crises that we're living in now. And I think that there's no better incentive for Americans to be a part of this than to just meet other young people your own age from around the world and see how they value life, what they feel, many of them coming from non-pop oriented cultures that believe in other kinds of things equally passionately to you. And that would be a reason why I would be there. Plus it's New York, plus it's the UN, it's a wonderful place to be, it's a great program, and we try to really focus on networking, so there's not a lot of blah blah blah. There is a tremendous chance for young people to exchange. How you might be able to help us in the future is by spreading the word, asking people to go to our website, faf.org, Friendship Ambassadors Foundation's initials, faf.org, and you will see a tab for the Youth Assembly, and you might wish to get involved with it. For instance, another instance, not just to tout the Youth Assembly, but we are also helping to produce one of the Convocation on the Rights of the Child conferences this year at the UN. And as those of us who are working with the UN know, the CRC, or the Convention on the Rights of the Child, is a big part of UN activities this year. And we'll be holding a session of the Rights of the Child, a conference, in late April. And young people, especially at high school levels, have been encouraged to join. Again, you might come onto our website or others that are promoting this effort. Again, it's another effort that's relatively free, but we need to have your active interest in looking into these affairs so that we can help each other as we go forward.
I'd just like to add a supplementary, because the questions were very good, and I'm always impressed by Professor Hunter and his passionate group of students at Lehigh. You have no idea how powerful you are as individuals. You are powerful because you have, don't listen to Mr. Sciarratta when he talks about the wisdom of the old fogies. If the old people were any smart, we would be living in a better world. It's quite obvious that they have created a mess in the world because of their quote-unquote wisdom. So don't listen to anybody who is over 30 years old. That's the only question you should ask. Are you over 30 or under 30? If he's over 30, put him in the garbage pail. Now, insofar as youth is concerned, please remember some of the great things that have been done by very young people. There's a girl of 18-year-old girl, who becomes the commander-in-chief of the French army and defeats the British army. That's Joan of Arc at the age of 18. You had another girl at the age of 18 who becomes the Pharaoh Queen of Egypt, and by far one of the most intelligent women who has ever lived in the world. Cleopatra, she understood geography, she understood geopolitics, etc. You had a young chap who at the age of 26 had conquered half of the world, Alexander, by 26. You had another chap who by the age of 27 had written the greatest music, the most romantic music ever, that's Chopin. So great things have been done by young people, not by old people. And so you are the power, and all that I can say is that I am constantly amazed by the intensity of intelligence of young people, and the fact that all that we can do as older people is to be jealous of them. So accept my jealousy, and let's see you change the world, which I'm sure you can do. Mr. Sciarratta has spoken about the rights of the child. This is an international treaty to which